Hey, is the page object overrated? Want to know a real-world example of performance testing across your pipeline? Worried about Cobalt strike on Linux? Discover the answer to these and other automation testing, performance testing, security testing, DevOps automation topics in this edition of the Test Guild news show for the week of September 19th. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. I want to start off the show with a big announcement that this edition of the Test Guild News Show is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. If you don't know, Applitools is the next generation test automation platform powered by visual AI, so it can help you increase quality, accelerate delivery, and reduce costs with one of the world's most intelligent automation platforms. And I always believe that seeing is believing, so create your free account now by clicking on the link down below. So first up in automation news, speaking of Applitools, it seems like every week I've done this show, we've had some sort of news article around AI and machine learning and automation. And I actually just noticed that Applitools has a free webinar coming up on disruption, the economics of testing with AI. So AI-based automation techniques really can help you deliver real benefits that come with the potential of addressing many of today's critical automation bottlenecks so you probably find yourself struggling with. So in this webinar, you're going to discover why the cost of quality is out of control, the critical pain points faced by modern software development teams, and 5 ways AI and machine learning can help you. So definitely check out that webinar as well in the link down below. So is the page object overrated? You're probably like, what? Ever since I started automation, the first rule I've always been taught is use page objects. But this may not always be the case, and Alden Usman actually takes a contrarian view in his latest it's an awesome two-part series on reasons why he actually thinks the page object model is overrated. So this article goes into what is the page object, what are some principles that's used for the page object, and then it shows some examples of the page object, and then he shows like how you have to refactor it and some of the benefits, but then he gets into the pitfalls of why using the page object may not be ideal in all situations. And he basically concludes that the constant overthinking of using the page objects into breaking up into unrealistic levels and wire all those pieces together is too much of a burden that's not always justified. Like I said, it's a two-parter, so definitely check it out as well. I really think this is a must-read to help you stop thinking about different approaches you may have or understandings you might have of automation, and maybe just flip the script and try something different. A lot of times, doing something different actually gets you out of a rut, and breaking down old conceptions of what you may have been taught as always being the best practice may actually help you break out of a rut and make a breakthrough in your automation efforts. So highly recommend you check out this two-part article. Hey, if you're like me, when you think of cutting-edge companies, you probably don't think right away of companies in the financial or insurance space. And I'll be honest, one of the best places I ever worked my whole life was at a company called One Beacon Insurance. It was an insurance company. It was around for 100 years, but I was able to dabble in all kinds of automation, really complex automation testing and automation in general across all over the company. I really learned a lot. So I did performance testing, automation testing, UI functional automation, mainframe automation, all kinds of cool stuff. And so that's why this next article really caught my attention. And so a recent survey explained how some of these top financial companies, including banking, insurance, financial services, test the software of the business, and it really shows how the industry appears to have risen to the challenge. So it talks about how seriously these type of organizations take testing, the maturity that they have in their test coverage. So once again, a good article to kind of make you think maybe differently and maybe how you may have thought about some of these organizations and how you could take some of these lessons learned from larger enterprises that you may not be in and actually implement them at your company as well. So I think it's really cool stuff. In other cool news, though, I actually came across another article on how to store testcafe test in InfluxDB. And even though you may not be using either testcafe or InfluxDB, I like these type of articles because it shows a real world example of how someone implemented two different technologies. And a lot of times by reading it, you can probably pick up things that you can apply to your tech stack as well. And I think it's a really well-written article. It takes you on a journey on the benefits of visual test automation, followed by concepts of extracting test results and storing them in InfluxDB, and would probably be a good idea to follow the writer on LinkedIn as well to get updates every time they release a new article. And speaking of LinkedIn, app recently hit me up in my inbox, giving me a message, letting me know about a new GitHub library called Shaft Engine that he wanted me to check out. And this acts as a high-level wrapper, almost like a unified high-level interface to any of the underlying test automation frameworks out there that it supports. So some reasons of why or when you would use Shaft is if you're starting a new test automation project that focuses on any of the supported platforms. And if you already have an existing test automated project that uses Selenium, Appium, Rest Assured, TestNG, Java, then you can use Shaft with the direct upgrade with zero refactoring required. So why don't you check it out and let me know what you think, and then we can get back to Mohab because I haven't had time to try it myself yet. Next up, performance and site reliability news. And this next news article came my way via Mark's Twitter from Marcus IT or Mark. And Mark's always tweeting really cool articles related to performance testing. And this latest one that caught my eye is on one that he retweeted on performance testing across the pipeline using K6. So definitely give Mark a follow if you're into performance testing at all. And this article is a great breakdown of K6, how to get started with it, the different parts of a K6 script, running K6, analyzing K6 results. It goes over the metrics of performance testing, running tests to verify your results, K6 and the metrics itself, and how to performance test throughout the pipeline. Really cool, detailed article on K6 and performance testing. And my motto, as always, is automation. And automation is just not functional automation. It's automation all the way across your CI/CD pipeline. And performance testing is a big piece of it. So this is a great article on how to get started hands-on using K6 and how to actually implement it in your CI/CD pipeline. And this next article is all about observability in a survey that really reflects on how observability is really becoming more and more popular. It's a New Relic survey that surveyed 1,300 software engineers, developers, IT leaders, and executives, and found that half of respondents, half, are in the process of implementing an observability platform. And these survey results are just more signs that this is definitely a leading indicator. This is definitely a growing trend that you need to get involved with as well. And speaking about observability, a lot of times this shows up in the site reliability field. Another growing trend I've been seeing is SRE. And this next interview for you by Tammy Bryant-Buteau. And Tammy is a principal SRE at Gremlin. I think she's one of the first persons I ever talked to that actually told me or taught me about chaos engineering. She was on my podcast. Here's another podcast episode you should check out. And it goes over how you can have a formal SRE apprenticeship program and how to implement it, how Tammy implemented it at Dropbox. So you can get ideas on how is the best way to teach people new technical skills like site reliability engineering. I think it's a good listen for sure. Last up, security news. So we talked about a little bit about this a few episodes back, and that is the Cobalt strike. And the latest is an unknown group of cyber criminals have actually created a version of the Windows-only Cobalt strike. It says that they actually have used Cobalt strike beacon tool. It's been adapted by hackers to work against Linux machines. It was designed to use for penetration testers and other security professionals. And Beacon is the automated attack component of the Cobalt Strike security testing suite that enables attacks like keylogging and file theft. But because it's so effective at automatically compromising machines, the software has become effective with cyber criminals looking to remotely break into a network. So definitely something to keep your eye on in the security space. And last piece of news is some acquisition news. I love when companies acquire other companies because a lot of times it highlights maybe trends that are starting to grow in the field that I need to be aware of. So in this article, JFrog actually has acquired Upswift for edge-based DevOps expansion. And the reason why it's under security news is that it actually talks about how this will help connected devices to become more secure, and it focuses in on software to manage Internet of Things devices. It allows you, developers and engineers, to have the ability to monitor device health in real time and access individual IoT devices from a browser. So IoT is a huge thing that is coming if it hasn't started already that you need to be aware of, and how different security things need to be thought of as you're developing these type of devices to think about, hey, how can this be exploited? How can I test to make sure that we're not going to be hacked? Using different tools in this area are going to help. And seeing actually people acquire other companies that actually focus in on this is just a clear sign to me that this is something you should be checking in on as well. All right, so that's it for this episode of the Test Guild News Show. Make sure to get a free Applitools account to discover how AI-based visual validation testing can help you with your testing efforts. So I'm Joe, and my mission is to help you succeed by creating end-to-end full-stack automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.